Welcome everyone to the Breakout Racing League Realistic Tier. We are here at round 8 in Circuit de France. I don't really know or remember what the name stood for, but round 8, we are already in the mid stages of the season. With a lot of highs and lows, a lot of driver changes since round 1. It's been a great season so far, with lots of battles, controversy, anything you expect from the realistic tier. I'm your host today, Feta Cheese, being alone again, which is fine. I get to talk to you guys in the Twitch chat right there. Of course, once again, we are greeted with 3 qualifying sessions, Q1 being the longest, 18 minutes long. All 20 drivers of this grid get to set the fastest lap times they possibly can, and the slowest 5 drivers do get knocked out of the next round, Q2, which then top 15 drivers will also get knocked out. The bottom 5 drivers of those 15 drivers do get knocked out, and it is a top 10 shootout for pole position. So far, we have a few. Well, no one really has set up competitive lap time yet. Cam on the intermediates. I'm not sure if that is still illegal within this league. John sets a faster time. John finally joining us in this tier after a few races out. 1:30.8. Nice to see you again, John. 12 minutes remaining. I'm surprised not as many people have set as many lap times. But yeah, you know, Q1 obviously is one of, since it's a longer session, you do expect not a lot of stuff to happen, really. So I'm just gonna let you guys, well, run through guys on what's been happening off track. Starting off with Red Bull. Red Bull, it is the final 5 races. Sorry, it is the final race of the second 5 races. And so far, I think we do have 2 driver goals waiting to be completed in Cam and Sanchez, brake tester 2. In the second Red Bull, both of them are yet to complete their 3 podium goal. Cam having 2 out of 3 podiums, and brake tester 2 also having 2 out of 3 podiums. So if they want the most money possible for them, they would want to get but capitalize on the points positions. Hoopalicious, I would say he's already up to grip in his Mercedes. Definitely still a challenge contender after getting kicked out of that Red Bull seat in Canada. He switched to Mercedes, 3rd fastest car on the grid, and not to mention, we'll get to that later, the car performance updates. Moving on to, well, yeah, also Dane as well. Dane, I mean, it's been a tough run for him, really. Not a good show of results, a bit of bad luck, a bit of driver mistake. Getting a bit of tow there from Cam, I think. That might be, no, it's from brake tester 2. And the intermediates. So a lot of we see a big trend on most drivers going on intermediates at the start of the session to not waste any soft tire, really, because we do have limited soft tires for qualifying. But yeah, ET Dane would want the best, would want this race to be a start of, what's it called, momentum for him, for sure. And as well, Ferrari in Jack and Cloud. I'm surprised Skither's not racing today. I'm not sure if this is the full lineup. Jack and Cloud. For the full-time drivers lineups. Jack, a few races out. I think was out in Britain. I'm not sure if he was out in Austria. No, he was not. He retired in Austria, I think. Yes, he did. He did retire in Austria, so 2 races where he did not score points. France, can he deliver for Ferrari tonight? That is the question. Same with Cloud. Very consistent driver, also in the pits. But has been lacking a little bit behind of the leaders of the Red Bulls and the Mercedes of Hubelicious. And Jack, of course. Can he turn this race around? I think he still has a lot of potential. Still very new to this tier. Nope, that is Jack out. Still very new to this tier. Yeah. Aston Martin as well. Aston Martin, great lineup that they have. They just really just need more momentum, more luck on their side, because they can match the likes of Mercedes. It's just something's not clicking. Maybe it's the race pace. As I say that, both Aston Martins are on pole and second place. 1-2. Smeggy is reserving for Cookie tonight. I'm not sure why that is. Smeggy waiting for his big chance. Oh, that's right. Cookie did drop himself from Aston Martin, deciding that driving is not really his thing. He has a lot of work to do outside of league racing, which is completely fair enough. So he has replaced Smeggy, and a very good candidate to replace him, to be honest. Smeggy is known for being a really quick driver. Hasn't really translated with results. Has had a little bit of time in the McLaren, of course. Hasn't validated his lap. He's gonna go for another one, I believe. A little bit of unlucky times with McLaren, but is in the Aston Martin. And look at that, a new face of Alpine. Ron Swanson, after a bunch of bad races, really. Also a driver full of bad luck, you can say. Decided to drop down, and I would say this is probably one of the best replacements you can have for him. Minico, after being in that dreadful Haas for so many races and carrying it from his back for points and for Q3 finishes, he is promoted to a big team in Alpine. Now the question is, can he match the likes of Axe F1, who also has been doing the same, dragging that Alpine in his back for so long? Basically, Minico in the Haas has been in the same situation as Axe in the Alpine, except they are 2 different cars. But this lineup, Axe will no longer be alone. His teammate he'll have an extra teammate to support him for points finishes instead of fighting for P15 in the table, which is great. And you look at it now. He's 3/10 behind Hubelicious. I'm really excited to see what this combination can bring to the tier. I surely expect him to be with the likes of Axe F1 in that mid-pack with those Aston Martins, and we can finally have a true Aston Martin Alpine battle for the midfield. Who else? I have covered Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren. Talking about the I can't switch cameras, there we go. Talking about the performance changes, we did get a huge performance change with McLaren. Obviously, in real life, the McLaren has improved a lot since the start of the year, fighting with the likes of even Mercedes in the races and sometimes the Red Bull. So the game has obviously translated that within this mini simulation, you can call it, and hopefully McLaren will no longer fight for points. They've always been in the bottom table of the points, if not the top of P11 and P12 almost consistently, with this lineup of Sufyan and Cookie, as I say, Sufyan in P4, 4/10 off of pole position. You already see that McLaren having a lot of pace. That, I think, either Boss Cookie is reserving or he's a full-time driver. I'm not sure. I will confirm that later on. I'm excited to see this on Cookie. Cookie did a great move. I think with the standings so far, with the performance charts, I think McLaren is certified to be faster than the Aston Martin. That is on quality pace. Race pace might be a completely different story. We did see a lot of the time, a lot of the drivers did test out the cars heavily with these new performance changes. I think I did hear about the McLaren's rear being stable, so that might help them in the race for sure. This game is really prone to losing your rear end, as you can really control it really well, so why not add a little bit of slidiness there as well. But McLaren 6th and 7th, overall strong start to their new campaign. Yeah, Moo in 5th. I mean, that Alfa Romeo never fails to impress, does it? That Alfa Romeo driver never fails to impress. I'll just leave it at that, really. Walk in Alfa Romeo, retiring really early on. 3 minutes left of the session. That might be a little bit of a risk. We'll just have to wait and see if it actually pays off. Williams, Supply Raptor. I think he's also subbing in with Senna as well. I think McLaren's only the real major overhaul. Oh yeah, as well. Red Bull now have a 2/10 advantage to Ferrari in the performance index. Talking about Red Bull, Cam sets the fastest lap 3/10 ahead of Hubelicious. So instead of usually in race pace, the Ferrari was equal to the Red Bull. I'm talking about qualifying pace. Sorry. Now it has changed. Red Bull extend their performance gap a little bit more. We do know the Red Bull is a little bit faster in the race compared to the Ferrari, so that's definitely not going to help Ferrari more. And with them leading the standings, the question does arise. Cam, the question does rise if they can hold off Red Bull. 2/10 might seem like a small margin, but you never know. 2/10 a lap could mean a second in 10 laps. A second in 5 laps. Sorry. It's pretty big. We see a lot of the drivers now retiring. So many drivers retiring. We're going to go into the battle for the knockout stages of Q3. XF1 did unfortunately invalidate his first run. The only driver who hasn't set a time is at risk to get out of Q3. Just have to see. That might be, yeah, it's not going to be ideal when his new teammate is all up in P6 and he's down in P20, sorry. We're going to look at Haas of John. John's going to start his out lap. Ardell and Kimmy's Forgotten Son, a Phantom, still in the AlphaTauri, being loyal as ever. Ardell's going to start his lap. So is Formula Cringe. Formula Cringe might be out of this, actually. So might be Smeggy. So these Aston Martins really struggling with this update. I honestly certainly do expect them to not be fighting as much as they have for the top positions. Supply Raptor a tenth up on his time. Can he support his contention to get out of Q3? Sorry, to get in of Q3? No, he doesn't. Stays in P15. Formula Cringe finishes off. Is Raptor pushing? I'm not sure. He does have time for another lap. John, one position out of Q3. Going through sector 3 right now. So far, 2/10 off of being safe. Make sure he doesn't go too wide in order to maximize the entry of the last corner and maximize the exit for the straight. DRS open. Can he go into Q2? Yes, he can. P13. That might be it. Ardell. Nope. Stays in P17. So, I mean, Formula Cringe. Very, very risky decision for him not to go out of the race. Sorry, not to go out of the pits when he could. Almost went out of qualifying. Qualifying 3 in that Aston Martin after battling for the points. After battling for, I think, the podium in the last few races. Supply Raptor in P16 in the Williams. I mean, it's expected, really. Almost could have made it, though. Didn't validate. Ardell and Kiwi's Forgotten Son are out, unfortunately. But it's an AlphaTauri. You really expect that, don't you? Cam leads qualifying 1. Expected from the Red Bull driver. Hoopalicious always not far behind him, waiting, just taunting Cam, really. I always see these two in the top 2, and Jack as well. Always see these 3 in the top 3. AT Dayton, strong showing for Mercedes so far in P4 after a long list of races that don't go his way. Can this be the race which can turn the tables? It is a All-American top 4. That is great to see in this American tier. Let's head on to qualifying 2. Oh, Axe did not make it. I just saw that too. Oh no. Oh, Axe. Oh no. That sucks. See multiple cars going out early in Q2. That is a Mercedes and 2 Mercedes and a Red Bull. I think they are in the same voice chat, so I wouldn't be surprised if they are working together in order to secure their positions in qualifying 2. That is unfortunate to see Axe being knocked out of Q2, especially when his duo of Minico is there to support him. I do expect Minico to go into Q3 hopefully, in order to salvage Alpine a little bit at least for Zach's sake. 12 minutes remaining out of the 15. Brake tester 2. Not talk about brake tester 2 before, but oh yeah, I did. He is 2 podiums away from his 3 podium goal. In realistic, it would help Red Bull out a lot. Pitching in a bit of a couple millions for the team in order to help them get out of their bankruptness. Sanchez, after being signed from Aston Martin, is in the Red Bull. Now, it has been a bit of a, I wouldn't say struggle, but it has been a bit of a quiet showing for Sanchez, I might add. In Austria, his first ever race, I think. I think that was, I don't know if it was his first race. He was fighting for the front pack, I think, a little bit. I think overall a bit quiet, but showed up still. Britain, he was fighting for the win. Fortunately, came out short from Skither in the Ferrari, and here we are in France. I think, if I'm not wrong, yeah, this is 3. No, I think he can't fill his goal today. Unfortunately, he's gonna cross the line. Here goes a 1:30.0, a benchmark for the rest of the grid in order to beat that time. Milk in the Alfa Romeo. P3 and Dayton a few tenths behind him as well. John, I think for the first time or not the first time, but the first few times in his career that he has gone into Q2, it's like he never left, really. Already back into contention. He might even be in contention for Q3. I hope he is in contention of Q3. Haas are definitely going to be missing the Canadian force of Minico, especially as he was brutal, really, in that Haas, little mini Haas. MP2 right now is Minico, 3 tenths behind brake tester 2. That's a great gap considering he is in a slower car. It is a long session, folks, really. A long bit of sessions before the race. I think it's longer than the race in general. Considering this isn't really, we aren't really fighting for points, just where you start on the grid. Even then, that really does decide. It does play a big factor on where you can finish with all the trains and such pit stops. 9 minutes left at Q2. 8 drivers out of 15 set their times already. Cam, little bit off the pace so far. Might have qualified on the inners once again. I'm not sure. Let me check. Yep, on the wets. Cam really wants to save those soft tires. In a track like France, that might even help him. Expect the unexpected, like we always say. France might be one of those tracks where the softs might be vital. Soufiane going through the final corner, looking very great of shape in that last sector. What can he do for the McLaren after their upgrades? Goes pole position, faster than the Red Bull and faster than the Mercedes of Dayton by quite a margin as well, by 2/10. Great stuff from the McLaren. Sufjan, after having a little bit of talks of leaving McLaren after that performance update that convinced him to stay, and I can't blame him. You can't really blame him, can you? Performance goes above all. I did not go on a track lap yet. I will do that. And what other driver to do it than Jack? PR Jack in the Ferrari. Missing out on a couple of races. Well, sorry, missing out on Britain. And DNFing in Austria and missing out on Britain. He's back. Scarlet Red Ferrari in the red and yellow Ferrari, commemorating their 100-year anniversary. I think something is 100 years of anniversary for them. I'm not so sure, but the real life Grand Prix. Oh, I'm yapping. I'm yapping too much. I'm missing the point of the whole hot lap thing. Well, that's bad, but yeah, yellow Ferrari, really cool. Gonna go in Stenner. Stenner's on a lap. I think that is the Alfa Romeo of Moo Moo Milk on an out lap. What better driver to do it than one of the most not dedicated, but I would say aggressive in a good way drivers on the grid. Here we go. Going through the final corner, you're going to need a good exit in order to have the best momentum to start your lap. Already off to the right-hand side, preparing for that exit for the first turn. Sorry, the entry for the first turn. It is a quite fast turns 1s and 2s here, so you need to set up turn 1 really good, as Moo Moo did there. Approaching sector 2. A very technical sequence of corner this, leading up to the longest straight of the track. It's a little wiggly, but he can still have the chance to set up a good exit, as he does. Car is very stable, heading into the second DRS straight of the lap. Probably the most popular overtaking opportunity going into the chicane. Misses the apex quite a bit. And that one corner messes the 3 corners in front of him. So he's going to be losing a little bit of time there. Through another big straight, heading into sector 3. The longest corner of the track. Little bit of a brake tap there. So far so good for Moo Moo. Gonna finish it off into the pits. Not even gonna finish his lap. I think he either decided it was too bad or he just invalidated. No, he did not. So he just decided the lap wasn't good enough, or maybe died. I'm not sure. Cam sets the faster time by 6/10 from Sufjan and 9/10 from his teammate Brake Tester. Brake Tester is on a lap right now. He is the only one right now on a lap. Gets a little bit of a slipstream from Bailey, PRX, Walk Walk. Very good friends, Sanchez and Walk Walk are. So you'd expect him to give that slipstream to him. Very kind gesture. Going through sector 3. Brake Tester 2 is. Let's see what his lap time can compare to the Red Bull, or maybe even the McLaren. Very surprised showing from the McLaren. Brake Tester 2, 2/10 behind his teammate Cam. Solid 1-2 from Red Bull there. I did see Dane go out though. He might be able to challenge the likes of those Red Bulls there, and more expectedly, the McLaren. Cookie starting lap as well. was a bit quiet in the early stages of Q1, but with his teammate in P3, that does show promising signs of the McLaren team to prosper. I'm just excited for the race, everyone, really. It's a purple sector one that might be invalid, I think, or invalid in as in not representable. With the chicane, can he do a better chicane than Mumu did last time? Yes, he can. Gobbles through the curb pretty nicely and carries a good amount of speed in the second sequence of corners. Sets a purple sector 2. I think that might not be representative. I'm just excited to see if he can challenge the likes of the Red Bulls. Going through sector 3. Cookie is flying in that new Papaya car. Goes past his old car in the Aston Martin. Maybe he grew tired of it. I think that might be the most reasonable answer so far. Good exit through the final turn, and it is a drag race to the line. Goes P2, 1/10 behind Cam. Great lap. You can already just tell by the lap in itself that it was going to be high in the timesheets. Passes the Red Bull of Brake Tester 2. Splits the two Red Bulls as well. I have not seen Malicious anywhere so far. He has not set a lap time, letting everyone by. He's going to let the McLarens know that they are newbies. He might be on the lap. Yes, he is. 2/10 up right now. Entering sector 3. Tap on the great brakes once again. Get a wide entry. You can get away with a wide entry into that corner, as it is very long. I think he's, yep, Hoopalicious is going to let him by. So maybe Hoopalicious expects a little bit of slipstream help from Dayton after Dayton finishes his lap. Hoopalicious is going to start a lap after Dayton finishes his lap. Dayton goes P4. Pushes Sufyan back into P5 in the midfield stages. Sufyan on a lap as well, going through sector 3. Minico as well. Minico has invalidated. Tough luck for the Alpine. Would like to see him with the likes of those McLarens. Though Sufyan, after setting P2 early on in the session, can he reclaim that position? No, he can't, but he does beat ETE Dayton. We're going to head on now into the final positions of qualifying. I think that was Jack or Cloud. Cloud goes up into P3 and knocks John down. John, having invalidated his lap before, is not going to make it into Q3 by his he's in P12 right now. Stenner goes into P7, goes into Q3 for his Williams team. Great stuff for Stenner, one of the best qualifiers in our grid. What about Smeggy? Smeggy has invalidated, so Smeggy, but he still barely gets into Q3. That is if Mumu does not complete his lap. Knowing Mumu, he's not going to let that slide. Mumu shines in qualifying, and in Q2 he's definitely going to want to get his black and red Alfa Romeo into Q3 for the nth time of the season. Going through the last corner, very solid exit, keeping that rear very steady. I think he might be able to knock out. Yes, he does. Minico is also knocked out of Q2. Very surprising. Formula Cringe, which does stay. I think that was, who was that? Who was in danger? It was Smeggy. Yeah, Smeggy is out. Minico is out. Jack is out. Jack is out. I did not see that. He did not manage to set a time into Q3. That is concerning. He's going to start in the mid-pack. Things are going to get rough. And what I saw in Austria, or sorry, not Austria. Yeah, I think it was Austria. What I did see in Austria, hopefully there's no repeat of that in France. Ferrari need those points. They're a comfortable margin ahead of Red Bull, but with that performance benefit from Red Bull, it's going to be harder for them. Red Bull are starting to gain better form compared to the first few races of the season, and with this pace gap, this P14 is not going to help them. There we are. Qualifying is finished. I'm not sure why Form the Country's not retired. In the pits, he barely gets into Q3. That's one of two Astons into Q3. I mean, to be fair, that qualifying midfield is very tight. It is very tight. I'm gonna see very different cars within the bottom of Q3 and mid Q2 ranges. But here we are. Cam once again leads, and we see a newcomer. In Boss Cookie in the McLaren. Very great pairing. I'm excited to see this pairing. And Cloud, very late into the session, grabs that P3 from Brake Tester 2. Now we do see the bottom 5 out of qualifying 2. Minico, very surprising from him after, he is I'm not sure what's going on. P11, Smeggy P12 in the Aston Martin, also a very big surprise. John in the Haas. Jack, surprising as well, and Wak in 15th. I mean, John really did the best he could in that Haas. It is not the fastest car of the grid, to say the least. "12 minutes of qualifying remain. Like I said before, at the start of Q1, that Q3 decides the final order for the top 10. This decides who gets pole position and who gets P10. It does not matter. It does not matter if Cam topped the first qualifying and second qualifying session. If he does not put it together in Q3, he will not get that representative time that he so far probably deserves. I did see a little bit of miscommunication there from the Ferrari team. Skither was supposed to race in the Ferrari, replacing Cloud, but unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened there. I think he might have been late or something, and Cloud decided to step in order to at least reach a little bit of points for that Ferrari team, and so far it's paying off considering Jack did not make it into Q3. Jack is going to have a lot of work to do in order to get back into that front fight. As expected, we do see as a lot of drivers going out of the pits early in order to get their runs in as much track time possible to get the best lap time possible. Brake Session 2 is going, no, he's not leading our train so far. I think that is the Mercedes of Hubelicious, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he is going to be the first one to start our journey. Really. I think he might have invalidated though. No, he doesn't. Very strong in the start of Q1 and Q2. I think I didn't really see him that much in the top of the tables. Can he pull off what Hubelicious does best? Even with that Mercedes, he seems to just be comfortable staying on top of the tier. Remember, Hubelicious is leading the standings, and with Skither gone as well, Cam is really the only one who is in contention to lose him some points. 10 rounds remain, I think, so far in the race. Hubelicious into the 29s early on. Very great lap from him. It's a very solid lap. Sufyan 130.1 in the McLaren. Times are starting to rack in at 129.3 from Dayton. That is superb from Dayton. I didn't really expect that, beating his teammate like that. Stenner is going to start his lap as well in the Williams. Very great performance from Stenner so far. Stenner never fails to just carry those small teams on his back. As I say that, he didn't validate. Unfortunately, he still has time for one little run. The time is passing by quick. 7 minutes out of 12 remain. The two Red Bulls do not hesitate to respond. Cam in first place, 128.8. First driver to go into the 28s, and Brake Tester 2 beating the Mercedes as well. We usually see one or two underdogs within this Q3 session. Obviously, the Alfa Romeo and the Williams of Stenner, and the Alfa Romeo of Mumu being one of them. 7 drivers already set a time. That was Formula Cringe in the Aston Martin. You can tell though. You can tell he's not as fast as he used to be. Before that performance, due to no fault of his own, really. No fault of his own. It's just the car. Formula Cringe never fails to be consistent, though. Someone makes a mistake, he's always there to capitalize, and sooner or later you just see him within that podium position, fighting for that podium position. Not necessarily through pace, although he does have a lot of it. More likely through his great IQ, in order to stay away from incidents as much as possible, to stay away from track limit warnings. Speaking of speaking of the time penalties, France is known to have a lot of them. France is known to rack up penalties. It is a very flat track and with very flat curves, which that means a lot of the drivers are going to want to abuse those flat curves as much as they can. And as you've seen in qualifying so far, we do result in a lot of invalidations. Cloud in the Ferrari, very late P3 into Q2. I look out for this one. Look out for this one for sure. Boss Cookie, I did not notice that as well. Boss Cookie beats Brake Tester 2 into P2. Boss Cookie, I mean, that's gotta be one of the best moves not necessarily on track, but off track, going from Aston Martin to that McLaren. McLaren, I think, is better than Aston Martin on the performance index now. And you can just see that on the timing sheets. Tough luck for Aston Martin. They just got to perform better in real life. Really. Cloud did set P3 in front of Brake Sister 2 and right behind Boss Cookie. There are talks so far of the tier of the race getting restarted, as Cloud is unfortunately, well, as Skither really wants to get in that scarlet red Ferrari. Cloud really just acted more of as a sub in case Skither did not join, and I mean, Skither wants to join. Not sure if the tier will allow it though. That is in confirmation. We will restart the race. Restart the lobby, sorry. 2 minutes left. See a couple drivers out on their out laps, gonna prepare for their final laps of the session. I think we do hear a little bit of talks as well. As I hear that Cloud will get replaced by Skither once the lobby does restart. And of course, since Skither did not qualify and it was Cloud who did qualify, it is going to be Skither starting from the back. Skither will not be starting from the same position where Cloud qualified, and instead it will be Skither starting from the back with the same car. So both Ferraris are going to be starting from the back. Not the stuff you want to see if you are the Ferrari team principal or a Ferrari fan in general. Cam's going to get a little bit of slipstream from his teammate, fighting for that pole. His teammate is fighting for that pole position. His teammate lets him by. He might have held him up a bit though. I did see a bit of Cam being a little bit too close to Brake Tester 2's rear. He's going to be the first one to finish his lap. Cam a strong force ever since he did join Red Bull, fighting for win after win. Can he get another pole position? He does improve his lap time, 1 minute 28.4. Now the only question is if other drivers can beat it. Dayton has been so far strong this session. I want to see Cloud. Cloud is on his out lap. So is Moo Moo. Stenner is going to be starting. No, Stenner didn't validate a 30.1. I'm not sure who is going to be the next one across the line. That's going to be Boss Cookie. Sorry, Boss Cookie is going to give slipstream to his McLaren teammate, who did unfortunately invalidate. So I think that might be it for the McLaren duo of Sufyan getting slipstream from his teammate. They are, I think, just practicing there. I do think Boss Cookie might be in contention for that pole position. I want to see him fight for that pole position. I would love to see it. Cam is going to return the favor for Brake Tester 2. I mean, this is really one of the best tracks to do so, as you do get to corner cut from a straight to a straight. Brake tester 2. Boss Cookie did retire, so that is going to be his highest position he can achieve in this race. Can Brake Tester 2 beat his teammate and finally get his first pole position of the season? Oh, Hooplicious. Time penalty, but Brake Tester 2, oh, barely a tenth behind his teammate. Great stuff from both Red Bull drivers. 1-2 from them. Boss Cookie is starting P3. I think Cloud did invalidate his time, so he will be starting behind the Red Bull duo and McLaren. That's a bit unfortunate. I did think he could fight a little bit more. Dayton qualifies his teammate Hooplicious. I mean, Dayton did show very, very strong signs of having a lot of pace, but I mean, you don't really expect Hooplicious to be that far behind the leaders from Cam. And with that 5-place grid penalty, that might affect him even more. I'm not sure if that will be applied once the race starts, because we will be restarting the lobby. But who knows? Stenner in 8th. Great position from him. Formula Cringe in 9th. And Sufyan in 10th. That is it. I'm going to be pausing the stream for a little bit. I will be back in a couple of minutes once the lobby is settled and we are back into race setting. Alright, thank you everyone for your patience. We are back up and running in order to get this France race sorted out. Of course, a few changes so far. Skither is going to be starting last in this race. And of course, alongside him, well, not alongside him, but within the same grid spots, Jack is also going to be there. And I think it is still a Red Bull 1-2 so far, with Cookie in third. You're going to be waiting a little bit just to let everything marinate, get everyone's setups in. It is raining. It is raining. So this is going to speed up a lot. Like I've said before, when it rains, all the cars are basically equal at that point. It's all up to driver skill at this point. It is going to be 3 lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. All the drivers are prepared for this race. It is lights out and away we go. Cam starting in first and brake tester 2 right behind him. Great start from Cam and the Red Bull of Sanchez as well. Sanchez holding off. There's a lot of front wing flying behind there. That is a safety car. I'm not sure who went in the front in P2 and P3 there, but there was a lot of contact there. No retirement so far, but a lot of front wing out and into the open. Versus safety car. No full course safety car, which is great for our sake because we get a lot more racing time. Cam overall leads us after holding off brake tester 2 quite nicely. Brake tester 2 almost getting caught off guard by Boss Cookie around the outside before that virtual safety car. That virtual safety car practically saved him. But racing is now going to resume. Hoopalicious does not waste any time in passing his teammate Dane. I think they both know who is the #1 driver right now, who's fighting for that championship. Hoopalicious so far after starting in P8 is doing good work. Moving up into P4, chasing down Boss Cookie in the McLaren. Boss Cookie, the debutant in the Papaya Orange McLaren, with that brand new performance update, basically a refurbished Mercedes as a lot of people call it. That stable rear end is going to help Cookie a lot more and is finally going to push him up into the order. He's chasing down brake tester 2 right now. We're just gonna have to wait and see once the whole grid marinates, and once the whole battle, all the battles get into play. That is one person into the pits right now. Smeggy into the pits. That's surprising because I did see a lot more than one front wing flying off of turn 1. I know I'm not the only one that did see that. Coming off into turn 5 and 6. Cam and brake tester 2. You did see brake tester 2 all up in the back of Cam so far. I do think it is going to dry up once the laps go ahead. Formula Cringe battling Mumu there. They're still side by side. I think Formula Cringe might make good use. No, they're still side by side. Oh, Mumu. Great spacing from him. And Formula Cringe getting pressured by Stenner as well. Stenner pushing his nose and letting Formula Cringe know that he's still there. Kind of nudges his way through into P7, but makes the move done. Formula Cringe still kind of getting pressured by Stenner there, by Sufjan there as well. Formula Cringe is losing position by position at this rate. He's not going to let that slide down the inside of Minico. Minico as well. Strong start from him up into P10. That is the Ferrari of Jack. After starting so low, he's almost into the points paying positions. Around the outside of Minico. Decides to let it go. He's going to play patient, knowing Jack is going to want to make as much ground as he can. That is Minico and Formula Cringe battling beside him. Minico goes down the inside. Can Jack take any advantage of the carnage ahead of him, of the action ahead of him? I think he might. He's going to look for a move on Formula Cringe, and that's a 5th position lost from Formula Cringe. Very unlucky start from him. Not in the best place regarding battles wise. You can see Jack's ERS is very, very low there. After wanting to get by as many drivers, that is an Alfa Romeo off. That is Bailey. Unfortunately, Minico, use of his Alpine straight line speed. Oh, tries to make the move done on Stenner in the Williams. Locks his rears, cannot get the move done, but he might get the move done. Coming into Sector 3, has the slipstream. Stenner not really much having the advantage compared to Minico. Will Minico go for the lunge? No, he won't. Jack! Try to do that. Minico covered him off, and Jack has front wing damage. Already, lap 3 of this Grand Prix, Jack in the Ferrari for 2 races in a row of him in the Scarlet Red Ferrari has front wing damage and has been involved in with an incident of someone outside. Oh, that's front wing damage for Formula Cringe as well. Oh, okay. Both of them fighting for positions in the pit stops. Well then. That might be reviewed by the steward so far. That was not as sportsmanlike as you would have liked to seen it. Going into the pits, getting their front wings changed. Can Formula Cringe go in front of Jack? No, he can't. Stays behind him, and I did recall to see that. Brake Tester 2 did lose a position from Boss Cookie. I'm not sure what happened there. But Boss Cookie in great form with his Papaya McLaren. Obviously Cam not letting this this opportunity fly by. He's pulling and pulling away from this battle of P2. Brake Tester knows this. Cookie knows this. It's up to them two to decide if they want to battle for position or wait the long run and hopefully see if they stand a chance against Cam. Yeah, by the looks of it, I mean, I think just Brake Tester wants to get by as much as he can. He's all in the back of Cookie. Remember, like I said, this rain evens everything out. You do not know your rival's pace in the wet, only in the dry. No one really practices for the wet either way, so it's a bit of a surprise for everyone when it comes down to seeing those rainy clouds on your telescreen. Cam for the 5th time in a row sets fastest lap of this race. Cookie starting to pull a little bit from Brake Tester 2. A little bit of coverage into, let's see, Skither starting from the back. Already up into P10 with his Ferrari teammate in P20. I would say it is a pretty good start from Skither considering it is raining. I think it might have dried up a bit. I do not see any more rain so far. Minico getting pressured from Skither. We've seen this a lot of times before, but Skither makes no effort to pass Minico. He's going to be looking to do the same to Stenner and Moo Moo Milk, all of them being inferior cars to the Ferrari, and yeah, it's just a matter of, I mean, ERS doesn't really play when it comes to This race doesn't. Wolf's gonna dive down the inside. No, he doesn't. Stenner covers him off. Maybe a little bit too much. That hindered its speed, and great overtake from Skither. Great overtake. Might be looking for Mumu as well. Oh, behind him. Oh, taps him in the back. Makes him lose a little bit of time. 2 moves in 1 sector. Can he make it 3? Coming into the final corner. No, he doesn't. He's gonna wait it out. Playing the patient game. It's worked so far before. It can help him again. Of course, with this being such an odd pairing, a Ferrari in the bottom 10. Oh, that's a mistake for Mumu. Skither capitalizes. Yep. It was going to happen sooner or later, but he got it done. I was going to say the likes of Miniko and Stenner could have possibly taken advantage of all this battling between Mumu and Skither, but I mean, Skither really made no effort of it, did he? I did see Break Tester 2 did get past Boss Cookie once again. The gap now being 2.2 seconds from him and his teammate Cam. So the gap is extending rapidly. Fortunately, it is still a 1-2 for them too. Red Bull have never gotten a 1-2 at all this season. Reaching a lot of highs, a lot of lows. Lap 6 out of 27. 20 laps remaining of this race. The race is not over yet. Still a lot of time to go. The race will dry soon. And that will no longer even out the playing field. Center does get past Mumu. Mumu seems to be a little struggling a little bit there. And Miniko as well. Miniko, I mean, he's usually the driver that's supposed to be in front of these people. Race is starting to dry. I think earlier than expected. Miniko probably forced to go into the pits. He might go for the softs there. Supply Raptor follows him in. This is a bold move from the Alpine driver. Just gonna wait for that announcement to announce that DRS is enabled. That's usually the indicator that dry tires are the fastest tire for this race. What is going on with Miniko? Did he have to serve a 5-second? What is going on? Oh, yeah, I expected that. I expected that to be a glitch. On medium, Supply Raptor does jump him, though. Yeah, that was a long pit stop from Miniko. The Alpine gets jumped from Ardell. And, whoa, so many other people. Smeggy and Ardell and Raptor and... No, not Phantom, but DRS is now enabled. Phantom, not Phantom. Supply Raptor leading the dry tire race so far. I'm not sure where he was before this, but definitely he can possibly fight for the points now with this very board. And I honestly think with DRS being enabled, I think this strategy might pay off. You can just tell by the performance between the dry tires and the mediums and the intermediates. Actually, Smeggy might go for the move there. Does not have the grip. Does not have the grip. That's how you know mediums are superior so far. Fortunately, we do see both Red Bulls into the pits, as they are going to have to double stack, and that's going to cost Sanchez seconds of time, which is going to hurt him. He's going to get passed by Boss Cookie and possibly a lot of other cars up the road. Cam is still going to lead, goes into the hards. I'm not sure that if that might make it. Brake Tester does the opposite strategy, goes onto the mediums. Boss Cookie and Hooplicious follow suit from Cam. Interesting decision from both of them. Can the hards make it, or can the mediums last long enough in order to have enough pace for another pit stop? This is all very much uncertain for everyone in the grid. No one's experienced this. No one really knows the track of France. No one really knows when it comes to rain, how will that affect the pace of everyone else and all the gaps when it comes to pitting. Supply Raptor is already not right behind it, but behind of his teammate, Stenner. That one pit stop, that one lap earlier pit stop helped him tremendously. He's now into the points. So many, it's such a mixed grid though. It is such a mixed grid. Almost half of the drivers on the hards, half of the drivers onto the mediums. Skidler just get past Sufi, and now with it being dry, Skidler, it will be an easier task for him to pass all the other drivers. And I mean, I must say, he hasn't really lost a bunch of time to the pack in front. If there is a safety car or anything, he could possibly be, knowing Skidler, he could possibly still be in this fight to at least salvage a podium for him. Chasing down Dayton now. We're going to continue to keep an eye on that gap when later laps come in. Axe and Minigo. Where did Axe come from? Whoa. I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention to this race at all. Axe got past his teammate Minigo. I mean, I know Minigo got a slow stop, but Axe, starting P20, is down up into the points. Up into the points. Skidler sets the fastest lap. Raptor sets the fastest lap. Great pace from Raptor so far. But now, the Alpines is going to show their chemistry so far in this race. What can the dynamic duo do? They both can fight for points. Jack. Oh, Jack. Oh, Jack. I mean, second race in a row where he's retiring in the pits. You just don't like to see that. You don't like to see that from a driver. Yeah, I mean. Axe does let his teammate Minute go by. I think they both know who's the faster driver. Whoa, where did that come from? That's a safety car. Brake Tester 2 goes into the pits. Boss Cookie goes into the pits. What's going on? Completely missed that. Sky retires. Cam's going to be leading. Brake Tester 2 is going to go on hards. Brake Tester 2 learned from his mistakes. And Boss Cookie also learned from his mistakes. Well then. I mean, Boss Cookie and Brake Tester 2 very indecisive when it comes to pitting. They didn't really lose much time. That does help Skidler. I did mention this at the start of the race. If there is a safety car, Skidler will be there to capitalize, and he did. Sticking to his medium strategy. Interesting. Cam is gonna keep leading on to this race. Of course, the gap is smaller than what he had before the safety car, so it's going to hinder him a little bit. He's under threat by Hooplicious and Skither. Stenner, great performance from him up into P4 in the Williams. I must say it's been a great weekend for Stenner into Q3. Been fighting for the points all along. Surprised the safety car has not come in yet. ERS Ardell going into the pits. I'm not sure why he went for the intermediates. Smeggy going on to the mediums as well. I think at this point the mediums might be able to make it. I mean, if you are in Smeggy's position, that definitely would be worth it. You get to do, you don't have to do another pit stop. And other people do. We'll have to watch out for him once the laps marinate. Racing is resuming. Cam, great start from him. Hoopalicious right behind him. Oh, getting pressured by Skither there. Skither makes the move done. Boss Cookie as well up onto Stenner. He separates a car from him and Sanchez. It's a huge train between them. Boss Cookie still in this fight. Onto the mediums now. I mean, this strategy might even pay off for him. Cam, oh, made a great gap. Oh, this three-way fight. Hoopalicious around the outside of both cars. Doesn't make the move on Skiller, but might make the move done on Boss Cookie, or defend against Boss Cookie down the inside. The position done. Oh, Boss Cookie still trying to head his nose in. Yeah, Boss Cookie 3-second time penalty. He does keep the position, so that might be even justified there. They're still fighting though. That's a Williams off track. I did see that there. Cam sets the fastest lap of the race. Boss Cookie and Hoopalicious still battling it out. Brake test 2 just basically witnessing it. There we go. Boss Cookie keeps his position. Hoopalicious struggling a little bit there. Already under pressure by brake tester 2. I'm excited to see this battle between Cam and Skither though. I mean, Cam is very much holding his ground so far, keeping that 2-second gap between Skither, and Skither is on mediums. We did see this same situation in Britain. So far, I think the hards did come out on top, albeit Skither was on those hards, and Skither's now on those mediums. So this strategy is now vice versa. The two, I mean, technically these two are championship contenders. Cam did have a bit of bad luck. That is another safety car. Okay. Cam does pass that safety car, thankfully, as it does give him one more lap to cool down. That's another safety car. I'm not sure what happened there. Thankfully for the front runners, they do get to pass the safety car and get one more lap of letting them pit, or else the likes of Ardell would have led this race, and that would have caused a lot more carnage, wouldn't it? Second safety car of the race. I think the leaders might be going into the pits. And I mean, it might even be a good strategy to stay out even. Talking about the midfield runners. I mean, Cam really, after leading every single lap, might be a little bit tiring, considering he's the one who has to deal with all this. He's the one getting affected. If anything, the drivers behind are the ones benefiting from this. Cam is into the pits. Skither stays out. Skither on 5-7 lap old mediums decides to stay out. That safety car might help him save a little bit of tires, but will it be enough for him? That's the question. Brake tester 2 also deciding to go into the pits with Cam, so he's going to suffer a more double stack infringements disadvantages there. Cam is going to lead out of the pit lane. So is Boss Cookie. Where does Brake Tester go? He is one position behind Hoopalicious, so he lost the position from from Stenner. Not ideal, but he's still not completely out of this race. 3 drivers ahead of him are on penalties. Seems like Skither had a little bit of a wheel issue in the chat. I mean, to be fair, 4 drivers leading who haven't pitted. Like I said, I mean, it is a risk, but it might pay off. 4 laps is the difference between Cam's tires. Sorry, 0 lap on mediums. And yeah, I mean, even Skithers. Can they hold on till the end of the race? Cam now with fresh mediums. He can aim for that fastest lap of this Grand Prix. I'm assuming the safety car will come into this lap. We'll resume racing. And if anything, this is that crucial point of the race where we will see a lot more action. The grid is as split up as it has ever been, with various driving strategies. I mean, at the start of the first safety car, I thought that was pretty mixed. I mean, you saw the strategies there. Some were on hard, some were on mediums, opting to go on mediums, and some were opting to go on hards. And now, some are opting to stay out on mediums, and some are opting to stay out on hards. That is a driver out. That is Dayton. I'm not sure what happened, what's going on with him. That is him spun in the safety car, period. Oh, I think Ericsson hit us. Oh, that's he was doing so good as well in qualifying. Tough luck for him. That does gain a position for the rest of the drivers up front who have pitted. 2 cars separate Cam and Skither. 8 laps of tire running has separate them. I do not see if safety car. Yeah, safety car is now in this lap. A very late announcement. There. First time this race is going to be leading this Grand Prix. And I'm not sure. I mean, we did see Cam's great safety car start. Can Skither replicate it? He's gonna go now. He's caught anyone off guard. I think he caught Smeggy off guard. Just a little bit. No, he hasn't. The race continues. Skither leading. Can Cam make up any positions in order to secure his lead? His lead obviously is now in danger. He's going to make no time to waste here. Gets already up into the podium positions. Chasing down Sufyan. Great grip does Cam have. Might even pass Sufyan in this straight. Skitter's gonna get very much under pressure from Cam. Here we go, thinks of it. Oh no, sorry, that's Sufjan against Skither. Interesting. Sufjan, I would consider Sufjan very much in this fight. Cam capitalizing off of that slingshot and that double slipstream passes Sufjan. Chasing down Skither now. Not even a lap completed and Cam is already fighting for the lead. Skither seems to be struggling a little bit here, defending already. You can see him wiggle a lot through the corners. That grip is nothing compared to Cam. Cam tries around the outside. Skither just playing it defensively all throughout. And that might have cost him because it worsens his exit coming into the final turn, and Cam passes him before he even goes into the straight. Skither fights it though, down the inside. Oh my god, great fighting from him. Skither had a really bad exit there. Boss Cookie already up into P2. Boss Cookie with the same amount of tires as Cam. Cookie might even be in this lead as well, for this win as well. Great stuff from Cam though, not even a lap completed and he already went up into the lead. Under threat from Boss Cookie though. Boss Cookie with a penalty. We'll have to see how he adjusts his mindset towards that. Oh, Skitter's just falling and falling. Sufjan as well might be passed by Brake Tester here. Sufjan is going to be forced to make a move on Skither due to the pressure that Sanchez has over them both. Sanchez might go for down the inside. No, he won't. Around the outside of Skither goes. Gets blocked off by the McLaren, but still makes the move done. Might make it 2 moves in 2 corners. Yes, he does. What a move from Sanchez. Already up into P4. Chasing down the Mercedes. I mean, you can already start to see from 2 laps in, maybe staying out was not the best of ideas because now the McLaren and the Ferrari are struggling so much. Skither leading, and now he's in P6. Nico makes the move on Smeggy down the inside, turning into the outside. Oh, Stenner capitalizes on Smeggy's bad shape. A little bit of contact between the two, and Stenner gets the move done. Great advantage from Stenner and Minico. Great planning as well. Skither a little up ahead. He's going to make the move on Sufjan. These two might even be working together as they both are on the same strategy. They both did They both did take the big risk. So far it's not really paid off, so they need to do whatever they can in order to salvage as much points as possible. Sufjan decides to steer clear of that overtake, and Minico is already pressuring them. You know it's bad once an Alpine is pressuring the Ferrari and the McLaren. Grip difference, I mean, it's even surprising me. I mean, it wasn't even a lot of laps too. It was 7 laps of difference between the people who pitted on the safety car and the people who stayed out. And it goes looking for it. He has the DRS now. Smeggy retires from the session. He had a 5 seconds, so that is very much understandable, although I would have liked him to at least stay out a little bit longer and finish the race. 6 laps remain. There's a little bit of a train forming here. Minico's just going to wait for that DRS in the upcoming straight. Formula Cringe right behind him as well. Sufjan is going to be so much under threat by both of these cars. He's already blinking. Have to force a move on Skither. Yes, he does. Minico, oh, goes 3 wide between the two. Skither has to go off the track, joins kind of dangerously, pushes off Minico. Minico goes off track. He's going to try and continue onto the 5 Formula. Cringe capitalizes on all this carnage. Is up into P5. Axe F1 also capitalizing on this in the back of Skither. Skither's going to go for the move on the Aston Martin. Can't really have the overspeed to do it. And they both lock into their respective positions. What went on there? That might be investigated by the stewards. It was 3 wide. Smeggy kind of pushed off Skither off track. Skither kind of just pushed off Minico. Minico went off worse out of all of these 5 cars. It's such a colorful grid, this. This time Formula Cringe is going to be under pressure by all these drivers. He is on the softs. Remember that. He's going to get overtaken by Skither. Interesting move from Skither, knowing he's going to have the DRS at a disadvantage. Gets a bad exit, does Skither. Formula Cringe might capitalize. Going to go down the inside, side by side between the two. Turns into the outside for Formula Cringe. Turns into the inside. Turns into the racing line for Formula Cringe. Axe capitalizes on all this battling. Bike at 2 moves in 1 corner. Axe! Great exit from the Alpine. He's going to have that DRS as well, I think. Or no, he doesn't. He doesn't! How does he not have the DRS? He's vulnerable between Skither. I'm glad I caught that there from the Alpine driver. No DRS heading into this straight. So it might be all or nothing for Axe coming into this corner. Yes, it is. Gets the overspeed, gets the slingshot, and makes the move done from the Ferrari. Skither trying his hardest to hold his position through, defending his position from Axe and making the move done once again. Holding the outside. Even Formula Cringe is struggling to get past Skither here. He's gonna get past Skither. Ooh. Looks like his straight line speed wasn't enough coming into the first turn, so he had to battle a little bit coming into turns 1 and 2. Skither yields most likely coming into turns 3 and 4. A bit under pressure by Formula Cringe here. You might expect even Formula Cringe's tires to wear out at this stage of the race. So Axe F1 is going to be vulnerable coming into this straight. Skither's going to overtake him, but I think Axe knows this because there's another straight coming up. No DRS between the two, so it is a drag race until the long turn coming up. Will Axe go for it? Does he even have enough speed to go for it? Does he even have enough distance between him and the Ferrari? Skither is going to defend. Axe is going to go around the outside. Great camera angle this. Axe yields though. Skither with the inside and the banking. Gets the extra speed and defends his position well. Almost into the closing stages of this race. And it feels like people are barely into the middle stages of the race, really. Axe might be learning from his mistake here. Not passing Skither coming into this turn. He's gonna get passed into the second DRS straight. Yep, yes he does. He yields. You can already see the penalty starting to rack in. All these drivers, I think almost half the tier, is starting to rack in penalties. And Formula Cringe down the inside he goes on Axe. Not ideal for Axe as he was preparing a move for Skither that almost came out of nowhere. Not ideal. That extends Skither's 5th place, really. Just makes Formula Cringe lose that DRS. Heading into the lead now. I think I see Boss Cookie sneaking into that DRS of Cam. I'm not sure if he was there before. And it's still not very certain for Cam there. He has been controlling much of this race. Very decisive on his pit stops. Very decisive everywhere he went throughout this race. He's on course to get his third win of the season. Boss Cookie a little under threat though from the Mercedes and the Red Bull. Hoop gets through before the corner, but Sanchez failed to go through and loses a little bit of ground to the McLaren. That's definitely going to frustrate him. Knowing he has a penalty though, he might be able to back off. Maybe, no he doesn't. Around the outside of the McLaren. That is nasty. Nasty from Sanchez. Both of them were battling for P2 at the early stages of the race. And they're battling for P3 now. That was great commitment from the Red Bull driver. He needed to make that move if he wants to battle for that 1-2 finish. I think if Red Bull do get a 1-2 finish, they do get a bit of points there as well. I'm not sure. A bit of budget there, sorry. All these drivers on the same amount of tire. I do expect them to be on the same levels of tire wear at this point. It is the penultimate lap, the penultimate lap. So they probably would be experiencing the same amount of tire wear levels as Skither was a few laps ago. Speaking about Skither, Skither's still holding up well into P5 actually. The race has kind of settled down between these three. They were battling really hard. Did extend the gap from the second train behind them from Minico and Stenner, and oh my god, that is a bunch of cars behind them. Minico is going to be so under trouble. To there. Stenner, if anything, as well. Nothing from Sufjan except a little lunge there. Going to keep their positions. Minico is going to be safe for at least one more lap. Heading into the final lap of the race. Hoop is all the way in the back of Cam. I mean, that DRS that Cookie got from Hoopalicious a few laps ago, that has hurt him a lot. And he might be in contention to lose this win from Hoopalicious. Hoopalicious has the DRS. He's going to go for the move down the inside. Move gets done before the braking zone, but we still have one more straight. Cam has a slipstream from Hoopalicious, is going to pull along his right-hand side. That might not be ideal when it comes to having the inside on the outside, but can he get it done? Oh, it's 3 wide. Brake tester 2 out of nowhere. Have been battling for Hoopalicious for the lead in the last lap of the Grand Prix. Both of them. Hoop tries to push him out wide. Sanchez pushing him around the outside there. Come on. But Brake Tester 2 gets the move done. Oh, Hoopalicious tried to go for the move again for Brake Tester 2. Can Cam get this position from Hoopalicious? No, he can't. Brake Tester 2. Out of nowhere. Gets that win. That was superb. Delicious finishes in P2, Cam in P3, Boss Cookie a bit quiet there at the late stages of the race. Skither finishes in P5. And yeah, I mean, that is your grid. I think Alpine do get a double points finish actually. Here we are, the podium celebrations. Here we are. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Tune in next week and tune in for Friday and Saturday for our tier races. Thank you everyone for watching. This is Better Cheese 33 signing off.